Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. Today's video, as you might have told by the title, is going to be a TBR for a very special readathon which is taking place next week from September 12th to September 19th, and it is the DiverseAthon. This readathon was created by 4 amazing and awesome booktubers who I will leave down below. But basically, they created this as a response to a very nasty video that was posted a little while ago. I'm sure if you've been on Twitter, you've probably heard about it. I've actually watched the whole thing and it was kind of disheartening. I really didn't want to bring any more attention to this thing than it already has gotten, but it was basically just like a 20-minute tirade against diversity and why diversity is like one of the worst things to ever exist. Apparently it was just awful, honestly. However, one good thing that has come out of it is this readathon, and there has been an amazing discussion about diversity, particularly within the booktube community, in the importance of diverse books and how books that do cover diversity, that do have characters of other backgrounds, who have other life experiences. I personally believe that reading these diverse books gives you a better understanding of other people, of other people's struggles, other people's identities. Like there's just, diversity is such an amazing thing, and whenever people speak out against it, honestly it breaks my heart a little. But anyway, this readathon was created in an effort to combat that and to promote diverse books and to have people continue to talk about the importance of diversity, and I decided to participate. I am fully getting out of my rut that I've been on, and this has fueled my fire to get back into reading, to get back into making videos, and I have so many books that I want to read, and I'm going to share a few of them with you guys today. For this particular readathon, I only have 3 books currently with me. I did actually put a couple other books on hold at my local library, however I don't know if they're actually going to arrive on time, so I'm actually going to be asking you guys a favor to please recommend a couple of books. I am actually going to my library within a couple of days. I'm planning on going either Monday or Tuesday, and I'm going to be looking around trying to find other books just in case I can't find the ones that I put on hold on time. So if you guys have any recommendations, if you have any books that you love that you think would be really good for me to read, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. But on to the 3 books that I actually have with me that I am planning to read within that week. I really wanted to highlight diverse authors as well. So these are books that are written by authors of color. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is a contemporary, which I've had this in a couple TBRs in the past and I've just never gotten around to reading it. I think I started at some point, but I never actually got around to finishing it. Because you guys know, like, for contemporaries, I have to be in a very specific mood to read them, which I have been in recently. I haven't been reading much, but the books that I have actually finished within the last like 2-3 months have been mostly contemporary. So hopefully I'll finally get to read this. To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. This is the first book in a duology, or maybe a trilogy now, since I think Jenny Han is working on another book about Lara Jean, who is the main character in this. This has an Asian American protagonist. It was written by an Asian woman, Jenny Han. I believe she is Korean American, and I've just heard amazing things about this. I've heard that it's like just incredibly adorable. There's a very strong focus on familial relationships. I do think that YA could benefit a little bit more from having or showcasing stronger family relationships. I've just been dying to read this for the longest time, and I'm going to finally be able to read this for the readathon, so I'm very excited about this one. Next up is a recent release. This is A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. First of all, you guys know I absolutely adore the first book, which is An Ember in the Ashes. It's an amazing YA fantasy. It's very much inspired by like the Roman system, like how they would train warriors, and it is very inspired by that, but it does feature a lot of characters of color. Obviously the author is a person of color. I was also at the launch for this book. Sabaa was asked if she was inspired by any current events while she was writing this book, and she did actually bring up the Syrian refugee crisis that's going on and how it's kind of been covered by the media. She did cite it as one of kind of her inspirations, kind of, when it came to this book, which I found really interesting, because I do actually think that it is important for a lot of fantasy. Even though it is fantasy, I do think that sometimes the best fantasy is grounded on reality, and to know that she was inspired by like very real, very tragic events that are currently happening in our world, so to speak, to kind of create this whole other thing in this fantasy setting, I think it's really interesting, and I really want to see how it's portrayed. And I do think that sometimes fantasy does help you understand the real world a little bit better if you see things put in like through a fantasy lens. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just really interested to see how she handled that and how that worked within the story. Plus as well, like honestly, if you have not read An Ember in the Ashes yet, I highly recommend it. It is easily one of my favorite books of the year. I read it this year, and I'm very excited to read this. And then the third book that I currently have is actually on my Kindle. I actually got it from NetGalley. It is Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. This is actually also part of my Hispanic Heritage Month reads, which I will make a separate video about, because National Hispanic Heritage Month actually starts from September 15th to October 15th, and I've been meaning to do a special TBR for that throughout the whole year. I specifically set a couple of books aside for this month basically, but since it is kind of overlapping with the DiverseAthon, I figured I would throw in one of the books from my Hispanic Heritage Month TBR into this as well, since they kind of overlap. This book is a paranormal fantasy that happens to draw a lot from a variety of like Hispanic and Latin American cultures. The main protagonist in this story is a bruja. She comes from a family of brujas, I have actually already started reading this, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm pretty sure I've made comments in the past about how I find it really difficult to find a lot of fantasy starring or having any Latin characters in it. So to have this one book that not only features Latin American characters, but kind of the whole magic system and the whole story is heavily inspired by like a variety of Latin American cultures, is amazing. And also the main character is bisexual, so I'm very excited about this. Like I said, I already started reading it, and I will definitely have a review up for this one. So that is going to be it for my TBR that I have right now. As I mentioned before, if there are any books that you think I would like or that are very important for me to read, please leave them down below. And if you do want to participate in this, but maybe you're a little lost of where to start, there's this fantastic document that Monica has kind of started where people add various recommendations, and you can just kind of like look through it. I actually have that bookmarked on my computer now. You can actually look through and see like particular genres, what the book is about, and stuff like that. Like, it's just a fantastic document. I'll leave it down below. I have also started my own shelf on Goodreads about the Hispanic Heritage reads. So if you guys have any recommendations for that, please feel free to leave them down below. I'm going to be constantly updating that. Please just send me all the recommendations. Even if I don't get around to reading them during this week, it's something that I definitely want to try to work on, and it's something that I want to try to speak more about. I want to pay a little bit more attention to reading more diversely, because I do say that I want to read more diverse books a lot, but I don't think I'm actually reading as many diverse books as I want to read. So it's something that I definitely want to put more of an effort in. Diversity in media in general is something that is very important to me as a woman of color, and is something that I want to try to be more conscious about. Diversity is important, guys. It reflects how the world is. I honestly think it helps you get a better understanding of humans, and it makes you more empathetic and sympathetic to other people's struggles, and diversity is very important. So don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. That is going to be it for this video, guys. Please leave your recommendations down below. If you are participating, please tell me what you are reading as well. And yeah, I will see you guys in a couple of days with my TBR for the Hispanic Heritage Month reads, which I'm very excited about as well. So that is going to be it for this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.